Hey guys, Philosophios here. It's going to be a short video on a build I landed on recently. Kind of resembles the mechanics and the effectiveness of the Exploding Palm. It's not quite as strong. The big difference between the two is the damage here is based off of your character, while the Exploding Palm is based off of the monster's health. So it's not quite the same, but the effect is pretty similar, and you'll see in a minute why and how. So I'm going to explain the idea, and then I'm going to showcase some kills on the elites on T4. So basically, the idea is you're utilizing the Bola shot with the imminent doom. So you do want to build around fire damage. That's generally the strongest for the demon hunters. So here we are with the imminent doom, and it has a 2-second delay. The thing about the imminent doom is if you stack up multiple Bola shots on the one target, if you kill the target before the delay triggers, the explosion will trigger upon the death of the target. So you're kind of using that mechanic to your advantage, so you can effectively reduce the delay and trigger a large amount of area damage and burst damage. And so to do this effectively, you want to combine the Bola shot with the imminent doom, the marked for death with the Grim Reaper for the additional spread of the damage, and then you have the cluster arrow to actually execute the target that has the Bola shot stacked up on it. So the idea is pretty simple. You just want to, well, we'll show the idea in the gameplay. Again, the idea is pretty simple. You just want to make sure that you stack up a few Bola shots on the target, you mark the target with the Grim Reaper, and then you unload your clusters. I'll just kill this goblin real quick. And find an elite pack. They're hiding from me. So you start with the Bola shots and the mark, and you drop the clusters. And other than the shield, you know, they all died pretty much simultaneously. If he wouldn't have shielded, we'd be good to go. There's kind of similar problems with the EP. The Exploding Palm on the monk, if you're up against shielding, that can cause issues for that build. Not really issues, but it just delays the kill time. But again, it's basically the mechanic is it's just nice and evenly spread damage. So you throw the bolas out, and as the bolas are triggering, you know, because of the delay, you might not kill the monster within the 2 seconds, but because of the 2-second delay, the Bola shots are triggering while you're casting the cluster bomb, the loaded for bear cluster arrow. So the effective damage is very high at that time, you know, whenever everything's triggering, the effective DPS is very high. And I found this build to be quite effective on the higher difficulties, and there's definitely a lot of synergy between these abilities. And you can see even those occultists on T4 just melted. Those are some of the more annoying packs to kill. And they died very quickly. You are going to need some items to be able to run this build effectively. Obviously the fire damage is going to be a big one because your only damage sources are fire. So you would like to be able to maximize the fire damage. SOJ is going to be very strong. The Mage Fists are going to be strong. Cinder Coat is pretty much mandatory. You want the fire damage. Again, as much fire damage as you can afford, and some resource reduction on your shoulders, for example. It's going to be very strong. And I'm using a Legacy Deadman's here still to reduce the cost of the cluster, but if you could manage to get more resource reduction on your other gear, like I could fit some resource reduction on this ring, on the necklace, so there's a few items where at level 70 with the Mystic I'll be able to reroll for more resource reduction. But for now, this is doing really well. So I hope you guys enjoy the build. Again, you don't need the loot that I have per se. It's just going to amplify the effectiveness. And again, the damage does scale off of your character. So, I'm killing elites on T4 in a matter of seconds. If your gear is a little bit less, then you might only be able to push the elite kill speed to like T3 or T2. But pretty much either way you look at it, the build it's very well balanced, it's very effective, the damage is very high, and it's also very evenly distributed, which is good for killing large groups of monsters all at the same time and not leaving behind stragglers that you have to then clean up. So there you are, one more look at the spec. There are some options here. It's not like mandatory that you run all of these abilities. The punishment you could switch with enough resource reduction on the hatred and the cluster. You might not really need the punishment. I find it's just really strong. There's nothing that's going to outperform that in terms of the slot. So that's why I keep the preparation punishment there. Perhaps the companion could be good. And then the passives, the Grenadier is not necessarily mandatory. Again, it's just adding to the distribution of the damage to make it more even, more consistent in terms of the damage. Yeah, so there you go. I'm going to keep it short. That's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoy this.